But as we spoke before, Vinny, this pandemic has actually left a lot of us particularly overwhelmed and feeling drained for the past year, both in personal life and at work. I know you have a soon to be released ebook, 5 Tips to Cultivate Your Happiness on Demand. And I'm excited to try out some of these tools with you so that I can learn how to transform overwhelm into inner peace whenever I need. So, hey, everybody, let me just quickly take a look at my audience. I can see a couple of my friends on here already. So let me just quickly scroll to my Facebook page. Hello, Winnie. Hello, Angela. Good to see you all. All right. Well, so hello, everybody. Kitty Chang's my name for those of you who may not know me. I'm in the lifestyle coaching business, specializing in helping individuals to supercharge their health, particularly the 5 dimensions of well being through nutrition, weight management, mindset. And I really love helping business owners and professional people to reach their total wellness with my signature lifestyle and business program. Veni Folta is a US-based global business consultant who has held senior roles in Fortune 100 telecommunications companies. She holds an MBA degree, is the founder of the Inspired Action Group, and a certified happy for no reason trainer. After years of struggling to balance her own career and family life and feeling drained and unhappy, Vinny stumbled upon the brain science of neuroplasticity and discovered that true happiness is not only contagious, it can be learned. Through webinars and workshops, Vinny's mission is to empower self-actualization professional women to lead a happy and inspired life filled with purpose, passion, wholeness, and inner peace. 5 Tips to Cultivate Your Happiness on Demand is Vinny's latest happiness project that she hopes will inspire her readers to clear their mental clutter and to become the change makers they are meant to be in the world. So, Vinny, let me start by asking you, what do you mean by happiness on demand and why is it important?
Great question, Kitty. There's actually a two-part answer to your question. First, the happiness part. Let me start by taking a simple happiness survey of your audience. Everybody that's watching this, whether live or on replay, raise your hand if you want to wake up tomorrow morning feeling happier than today.
Yes, me.
Now, even though I can't see everybody through the computer screen, I can bet the majority of you had your hands up. Why? Because most people won't want to wake up in the morning feeling sad, right? The truth is, um, whether you know it or not, everything you try to do to succeed, be healthy, improve your relationships, or grow as a person is aimed at making yourself happy. Put it in another way, it's also true that everything we do is aimed at reducing our unhappiness. Since it is impossible for us to control when, where, and how we will feel happy or unhappy, I found that the best way to handle stress and overwhelm is the ability to tap into my own happiness reserve when I notice negative feelings starting to creep in. The idea is to be able to cultivate happiness habits and be able to access them on demand, much
Mhm.
like I can access a Netflix movie on demand
Yes.
when I want, where I want, and how I want. The reason why I love the phrase happiness on demand is because the idea is that to be in the happiness on demand zone, you have to have an intention. That is, you have to decide that you want to be happy. You have to take action, which is taking personal responsibility from the inside out. And you also need to decide to learn some tools. that can help you boost your happiness. And most importantly, practice them to make happiness an inner peace and automatic habit. Happiness on demand is all about making a self driven, conscious effort to attend to your own personal well being. This is the basic premise behind my ebook, 5 Tips to Cultivate Your Happiness on Demand in 5 minutes or less. The 5 minutes or less part is super important because we're always strapped for time. Many people are too busy to read books or learn techniques to deal with their stress, even though it has been detrimental to their health and well being. I know because I was that
Right.
person. When your brain, as part of your central nervous system, goes into meltdown, there's no time to
Mm,
think. So, the only effective way is to build your neural pathways in bite sized chunks and literally train your brain to be happy. Each of the 5 tips I cover in my ebooks takes less than 5 minutes to do. Some of my readers told me, even though the time investment is short, the reward is great. The tips work because they are supported by evidence based research in neuroscience, positive psychology, and epigenetics. The 5 tips are different from other quick fixes because to make them work consistently, you have to put in the work to practice. With practice, the tips will help you bring your inner peace online whenever you need it. Unlike other work that can be draining, practicing happiness on demand fills up your tank from a neurophysiological perspective. So it's very regenerative. It is what I like to call my happy work.
mm, I love that. Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Vinny. I love how you explain the significance of happiness on demand and that we all have to make, a decision to want to be happy first and then learn the practice. Really important, the happiness habits as well as, the way that we do things to build our neural pathways bit by bit so we can train our brain to be happy. And I'm curious, Vinny, on why you started researching happiness yourself.
Yes, Kitty. The honest answer to your question is that I was deep in a deep state of unhappiness. For many years, I was trapped in this unconscious idea regarding happiness being materialistic. I was looking for happiness outside of myself. I thought if I had more money, greater career success, even a loving family and supportive friends, I would be happy all the time. At the time, I was proud to be a successful corporate road warrior, crisscrossing the world on business trips while being a supermom raising my young daughters. But the
Mm,
harder I tried, the deeper I felt I was losing control of my life and my health. I had one health crisis after another until I collapsed in a hotel room in Korea while on a business trip, and I plunged into total exhaustion. And then I realized I was suffering from depression.
mm,
In hindsight, all the signs were there, but I was oblivious and in denial of what was happening to me. There was my job and my family that I've got to take care of, and there was shame and guilt. I felt trapped and had no idea how to get out of it. My doctor ordered me to take some time off, and that's when I started to dig deep into the inner workings of my brain. And I stumbled upon brain plasticity, which is the capacity of the nerve cells in our brain to biologically adapt to circumstances. From the research I read, it gave me hope that there is actually something I can do to rewire my brain's neural pathways for better well being. Soon after that, I started meditating as one way to manage my stress. I also looked into cognitive behavioral therapy and worked on changing my mindset. To be honest, I dragged on along for years because I was short on time. and I felt overwhelmed by my life circumstances constantly. Although many of the concepts, I get intellectually, I didn't give much time to practice them. It was not until when COVID hit last year that all my years of research and practice came to a head, and I became a certified happy for no reason trainer. My mentor, Marcy Shimoff, says happy for no reason isn't just a nice idea. It's a specific, measurable, physiological state characterized by distinct brain activity, heart rhythms, and body chemistry. In fact, looking at happiness from a neurophysiological perspective is a game changer for me. And here's the most exciting piece of research on happiness that I want to tell you about. I found out that we all have a baseline of happiness called a happiness set point. That means at a certain level, like a thermostat setting, we basically hover around the same level of happiness all the time, no matter what happens to us and whether it's good or bad. We will tend to hover around the same happiness set point unless we do something consciously to change it. What then surprised me is that 50% of our happiness set point is determined by our genetics, our DNA. But what is surprising is that only 10% of our set point is determined by our outside circumstances, like our job, our family, our success, the money that we have or don't have, our house or car that, everybody's wanting to get. But the rest of the 40% is influenced by our thoughts and behavior. This is indeed very good news because you are the only person who can change your own thoughts and habits. And that's the same with me. And, so I realize now I have control. I can take control and really do something about raising my own happiness set point. And to take this even a step further, the field of epigenetics says that even our genetics can be changed or that our DNA can be influenced by our habits. So that tells us up to 90% of our happiness set point can be changed when we change our habits. No wonder all these years with me chasing after outside successes didn't make me much happier because that accounts for only 10% of my happiness set point without changing my habits or thoughts. So the key to being able to have happiness on demand is to cultivate happiness habits that boost our happiness set point and build our neurophysiology of happiness to make inner peace and calmness our default state. And because I already knew that my brain can be rewired by changing my thoughts and behavior, I know if I can make a conscious decision to cultivate my happiness habits, I will be able to at least upgrade the 40% of my happiness set point to experience more joy and happiness throughout my life. And it worked.
Wow, that's very exciting to know that we have 40% control and it's not just totally, up for the genetics to control it. On our Zoom discussion, as well as my friend Lisa Tan and my soul sister, I call her Husney, who is from Turkey, and many others are on Facebook Live as well. So I just like to ask a quick question before we continue with our chat with Vini. How many of you are aware that you have a happiness set point? Well, I never did until Vini shared with me about that. So if you know that there is a happiness set point, you can actually put a Y or a yes there, or that you are very excited about the fact that you have 40% control over how you can actually build up and nurture your set point, right?
Actually, Kitty,
Yeah.
we actually have almost 90% because of epigenetics
Happy
based on our behavior. And, if we have a lot of stress, we actually damage our own DNA. So Of course, you can't change all 50% of your epigenetics, but theoretically, you can change more than 40%.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic. That's even
if
better
you,
news.
yeah, if you protect your genes from getting damaged all the time.
Right, right.
The stress and
That
the
makes me
cortisol
happy.
and all the, yeah, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, even that news alone, Vinny, makes me happy. You just raised my happiness set point.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
wonderful. All right. Well, let's just keep on with something that I'm very excited and curious about as well. Based on what you've shared with us about happiness on demand, happiness set point, and training our brain and the neural pathways, etc., etc. Do you feel like these are the reason, for yourself and others, to actually, all these findings to share with others? What exactly is your mission and vision behind your happiness project?
Well, absolutely. I thought about that. I can benefit myself definitely by practicing these practices.
Sure.
So, what I had started 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I really look forward to the year because I had a business trip scheduled in April of last year in South Africa. And I was planning with some of my friends that we will go for African safari, which is a long time dream of mine. And my younger daughter's graduation was in June. Life was good
Hmm.
until it wasn't. Before I knew it, the pandemic caused everything to be canceled. Like everybody in the world, I had to press the pause button basically on my life. And to deal with the stressful effects of the pandemic with constant health worries and social isolation, I doubled down on practicing my daily happiness habits. I
Mm.
meditated more consistently. I took time to listen to my body and care for myself more. And when I caught myself in a vortex of overwhelm and worries, watching the daily rise in COVID cases, and the social and political unrest in the US, as many of your audience might know, I took time to think about what is the most loving thing I can do for myself at the time. And I practiced self compassion. I reached out to friends and did something kind randomly for people.
Yes.
Even though everything on the outside seemed terrible, I was grateful for being close to my family and we're all healthy. I
Mm.
noticed practicing these small happiness habits had made a big difference in how I felt in my daily life. This is not to say I didn't have any negative emotions like fear and worry that came up. In fact, I noticed that my frequency of anxiety and worry were not much different than before COVID.
Right.
The difference I noticed was that the intensity and duration of my freakout moments was milder and shorter than I was used to. I realized I was able to maintain my equilibrium on most days without being sucked into the devastating effect of being overwhelmed by all the bad news. In fact, even though it's counterintuitive, I can honestly say 2020 turned out to be the happiest year in I had in a long time. And when I reached out to some of my friends, they all told me they were feeling really depressed. That was an aha moment for me that the tools that I've been practicing were really working to keep my overwhelm at bay. And the most exciting part? Some of these practices can be done anytime when I feel I'm going down a tsunami of negative emotions. And in less than 5 minutes, I'm able to regain my inner peace. I realize this is profound. Instead of just myself, I've actually offered some of these tools to friends and to you as well.
Yes, that's right. See, I'm so grateful and
Yeah,
feeling so blessed, that you've been helping me when I was feeling overwhelmed during COVID. Yes, thank you.
yeah. And I also noticed that due to the brain's ability to build new neural pathways, consciously practicing happiness tools can build happiness, which can boost your happiness set point so you feel a sense of inner peace and well being readily and sustainably.
Mm.
However, we need these tools and practices now with the pandemic still surrounding us. When I can access my happiness on demand to be happy for no reason, I notice that my consciousness and creativity expanding, which makes me more productive, really, motivated and efficient in achieving the goals I set for myself with less struggle and even less effort, which is surprising. I didn't know that. That is why I'm so excited to share with your audience some of the happiness tools so they too can really become happy for no reason and can take back control on being totally unconditionally happy on demand, whenever, wherever, however they want, instead of being stuck in a situation, constant state of overwhelm in their personal life and work, like I was, even way before the pandemic. And, even more so, actually, before the pandemic, the World Health Organization has found that depression is a common mental disorder globally. More than 264 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
Yeah.
Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to overall global burden of disease, according to the WHO. And you know what? The new studies that came out, the survey and the polls that came out during 2020, both Australia and the US have reported unprecedented high rates of clinical anxiety and depression in their national surveys. Over 30% of US adults have reported symptoms of clinical anxiety and depression, with similar statistics in Australia and probably in many places around the world. That is why I think it's more crucial than ever for people to have help in managing their neurophysiological well being. From a personal perspective, because I did not really have a mentor for my younger self, my mission is to empower self actualizing professional women like myself to lead a happy and inspired life filled with passion, purpose, wholeness, and inner peace. Although I think men can also greatly benefit from using the 5 tips in the ebook to cultivate happiness habits. My vision is that my readers can clear their mental clutter and become the change makers they are meant to be in this world, which we need.
Absolutely. Wow. In fact, on Saturday, I did a training on general health overview, and you were there as well, Vinny, right? And one of the statistics that we were given in Australia was that 45% of adult, actually have depression or mental health issues. So to say that, it is really a global issues, not only in the Western world, but also in the third world as well. To be able to have someone like yourself, Vinny, to provide tools and resources to help people get happiness on demand is such a blessing. So thank you for your work. What I'd like to know though is, what you've shared with us is really, really sounds great. But how do we build, new neural pathways or genes, like you said, to 50% and boost our happiness set point? Can you share with us some of the tools and resources that you've developed or that you've learned so that we can also apply them? Thanks.
Sure. Well, according to Marcy Shimoff, my mentor, there are 7 pillars and over 21 tools that can help us boost our happiness set point. But with the limited time today, how about we work on 3 areas: our mind, our body, and our heart? How's that sound?
Sounds great. Mind, body, heart. Yep, that these three things are so crucial to every single
Yeah.
one of us. Yes.
So as we talked earlier, 40% of our happiness set point is determined by our thoughts, belief, and self-talk in our minds.
Yeah.
The good news, you're the only person who can control your own thoughts and behaviors and habits.
Sure.
So, do you take responsibility for your own happiness in what goes on in your mind? Or do you end up blaming your life circumstances, such as COVID, which only accounts for 10% of your happiness set point anyway. So victimhood is indeed the fast track to unhappiness. I can tell you by experience, I know what that means. So instead, to be a victor is to take responsibility for your own happiness. So in terms of old habits that relates to our mind, that is something we call self-talk. So do you talk to yourself all day? Raise your hand if you talk to yourself all day.
Every now and then, yes.
Okay, so if you're not raising your hand, you're probably thinking, oh, wait, I don't know. Do I
No.
talk to myself all day? Maybe I do. Hello, well, say we all talk to ourselves all day long. They're called thoughts. Now, how many thoughts each day do you think an average person has? The average person has 60,000 thoughts per day.
Wow,
That's
that's a
about one
lot.
thought per second during every waking hour.
Whoa.
And the crazy part, 95% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday, the day before yesterday, because our thoughts are very habitual. 80% of these thoughts are negative, happiness robbing thoughts, I call. So most people have more than 45,000 negative thoughts a day. No wonder we feel drained at the end of the day.
Yes, yes.
So for many people, these are thoughts of fear, worry, judgment, overthinking, or keep dwelling on the bad stuff.
Yeah.
That's the bad news. The good news is your thoughts aren't always true, and you don't have to believe everything you think. For example, with COVID, like many of us, you're working from home and you're staying with your family members 24/7. And one morning, you woke up and you saw your husband or your wife in the kitchen eating breakfast, but he or she didn't say good morning or hello or even acknowledge you in any way. So, do you immediately create a negative thought that your husband or your wife is angry at you? Or worse, that you fear he or she doesn't love you anymore? So, fear, FEAR, can simply be false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
So, next time you find yourself thinking thoughts of fear, challenge them. Let go of fear. Like, I'm not talking about letting go the kind of fear like walking into oncoming traffic. But when you have a fearful thought, first notice that you're having that thought and ask yourself, is my fear merely false evidence appearing real? If so, observe it, thank it for keeping you safe, and let it go. Responsibility is the ability to respond. Remember, it's not what's happening that determines how you feel, it's how you respond to it that determines how you feel. You might have heard of the saying, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Yes.
So write on in the chat one of your habitual negative thoughts that what would you do to challenge that thought and take responsibility to make a choice in favor of your inner peace and happiness.
You know
So
what?
in the
I just want
previous,
to share with you.
yeah,
My soul sister Husney says she talks to herself all day, and
we know.
she's like that, and she's like, oh, she's actually been feeling a bit overwhelmed with different things, and she's really excited about learning from you. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Like, so in the example that I gave, right? You saw your husband and your wife and, not acknowledging you at breakfast.
Yeah.
You can change your thought and observe if your husband or your wife is really angry at you or really being distracted at the moment in his or own thoughts.
Yes.
So you can make a shift. So I invite, your audience to write in the chat, What is maybe one habitual negative thought that they always have, and what would they do to change it?
There's quite a few.
Okay, read them.
All right. Well, so if our DNA can be changed through being happy, I'm not sure if we can actually change that. So that's sort of negative, and or I feel I'm not good enough. That I feel sad because I'm unable to do the things that I've set out to do. That I cannot reach my goal. So on and on. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so those are negative thoughts, right? So what would you do to take responsibility? So the folks that have written in the chat about their negative thoughts, challenge yourself. Think about one way you can change your thought and take responsibility to make it better.
Oh, I love that
Try it.
question. Well, say for example, myself, if I, because I'm a person who loves to set goals, if I set a goal and if I don't reach my goal within the time frame that I would like that to be reached, one way to take responsibility for me is to know that I've done my best and I can always move my time frame. Is that
Absolutely.
okay?
That's a great reframe, right? So coming back to the questions from your viewers about the DNA part,
Yeah.
you are doing your DNA a great service if you don't damage it. If you are constantly in a stressful state, your body will continue to secrete, adrenaline, cortisol, which damages
Mm,
your mitochondria and your other parts, your body. So you say, well, why stress is so damaging? Because of these stress hormones circling in your body. And then with the part about, well, trying to set goals and not still feeling that you're not good enough, then you challenge that thought. Remember, look back in one of the ways that you have accomplished something.
mm,
Maybe yesterday, maybe you cook a really good dish. You did. I mean, over many years, for sure, everybody has achieved something. You look back in that particular success story and remember you are able and capable of being successful. So all the time that all the years I kept beating myself up for not being enough, for not being successful enough or whatever, I actually wasted my energy that I could have used to be more successful. So it's very counterintuitive and it's kind of like setting yourself up on a vicious cycle treadmill. So I
yes.
really would, challenge you to really question your own thought and say, is it really true? I'm alive. You know, I have to do a lot of things to be where I am right now.
Mhm.
So focus on what you have done right and what you have done that made you successful, even in small ways. Don't ever compare to other people.
Yeah.
Success is all about yourself. It's
Yep.
all about how you feel, right? So challenge yourself for not feeling enough and tell yourself, like what you said, you set goals and sometimes you can't meet it because of the timeline. Remember, you can always change the timeline,
Yeah.
especially your own personal goals. So have self-compassion is what
Self-compassion.
I felt that, that worked for me because I'm what they call type A. I'm very driven, as you know, I'm a very
Yeah,
successful
both of us
business
are similar,
person.
cousin. Yeah. You
All
know,
these
yeah, I love
years.
that. I love that because to think about what we've done right rather than beating ourselves up for what we haven't done correctly or not meeting our goals or whatever is by far more self-compassion than just sort of thinking that we're not good enough. And I think one of my good friends here, Lisa, always talks about that. I feel like I'm not good enough. I compare myself with others, exactly what you just talked about as well. But I love also, I mean, this is a question that just came to my mind. What you said about, not really, damaging our DNA. That has never come to my mind because I always thought, our genes, our DNA is already fixed. But in fact, it's
Yeah,
not. And that is
it's not.
something really to me like a new finding, like a new concept.
Yeah, with epigenetics, so some of the studies, I mean, of course, I don't have the time and I don't know all of the issues, but surrounding like happiness and, um, Bruce Lipton, Dr.
Yeah.
Bruce Lipton, he's a molecular biologist. He
Mm,
wrote the Biology of Belief.
yeah.
That talks about epigenetics and how your belief actually changes it.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, there
That's
are ways.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
really, what we have knowledge. There's a lot of huge knowledge database out there. We can be absorbing everything,
Yes.
and then we will fail if we try. What I want to do in this ebook is 5 really short, small little tips that everybody can do
Yep.
anytime, anywhere, so
Right.
that they can practice, and literally you can actually build your brain neural pathways so that you can incline to be more happy. The Tibetan monks that have meditated tens and thousands of hours, the happiest man in the world, is his name is Mathieu Ricard. He's actually a genetic biologist, and he is French, and he quit his after his PhD. He quit that and he moved to Tibet, and he's actually the French interpreter for the Dalai Lama.
Right.
And when his brain was measured, no matter whether he's meditating or not, his left prefrontal cortex has much more activity than
Mm,
most people. And that shows that you are in a deep state of well being.
wow.
So, your brain actually structurally can be changed. That's part of your DNA, right? You
Mhm.
didn't think that you can change your brain, but you
Hey,
can.
that's true. Yes.
It's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you read my ebook, and then I will follow up with some email happiness news and digest that I would discuss more in details and some
Okay.
more aspects of
Yes. Looking
of
forward to it.
these
Mm,
the scientific research behind.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, are you going to be sharing with us maybe a couple of tools that we can apply, implement
Right.
in our
So
lives?
we did the mind. Remember, you have 45,000 negative thoughts a day,
Yes.
okay? And 80% of them are the same as yesterday. I
Mm,
mean, 60,000, but 80%, which is 45,000 thoughts a day, are the same as yesterday, and they're all negative. So remember to switch your mind.
sure.
Then number 2, let's tune in our body's wisdom. So most people think emotions come from the brain, but actually your body is also communicating your emotions with you all the time, 24/7, nonstop, through subtle or not so subtle sensations. If you're anxious, your heart beats fast, your
Hmm.
breath becomes erratic.
Yes.
But most of the time, you're not consciously aware of your heartbeat and breathing. I'm
Mm.
going to do a short exercise with you to show you how you can quickly boost your happiness set point by tuning in to your body's wisdom.
Let's do it,
Are you
guys.
ready?
Yes, I am ready. I'm
Ready?
excited. Yes.
Okay, so everybody, if you're watching, if it's a safe place, you can, find yourself a quiet place to sit down, and then start by checking in with your body and see how you feel. Are you feeling happy, sad, anxious, worried, even physical pain, or maybe blank, you don't feel anything? Next, just sit quietly with your eyes closed if it's safe to do that. Now take 3 deep cleansing breaths in and out through your nose while relaxing your body from your head to your face, to your neck, your throat, your chest, your torso, your arms, your hands, your fingertips, down to your legs, all the way to the bottom of your feet. Notice any place in your body where you feel pain, discomfort, or tension. On a scale from 0 to 10, give that pain, discomfort, or tension a number. 10 being the strongest. Don't try to do anything, just be with whatever's happening in that part of your body. Pain or discomfort is a message to us from our body, but we often ignore it or simply try to numb it out with drugs or painkillers. Now keep taking slow, deep breaths down to your belly. If there's no pain or discomfort in your body, continue the exercise, focusing on the body's pleasant sensations. Ask the uncomfortable part of your body what it needs to feel better, or ask your whole body what it needs for optimal health. If you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, a very powerful question to ask is, what is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? What is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? Now just notice what happens. You may hear in your head an answer, or you may get a feeling or a picture of what your body wants. You may see yourself taking a walk, lying on the grass, or even getting a massage. You may suddenly feel thirsty or hungry for a particular food. Or you may just feel like laughing or even crying. That's okay. Continue to observe your body without judgment and listen for any answer that may come up. When the process feels complete, send some loving energy to your whole body, especially the uncomfortable part you just listened to. Thank your body for communicating with you. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, look around, and reorient yourself to your surroundings. Now, on a scale of 0 to 10, what is the number of your pain or discomfort now?
0 for me.
What did you start with, Kitty?
Actually, it was very interesting, Vinny. When remember you and I did this before, at the time it was, I think, 5 or 6. And then after our conversation, I went for a proper massage. Then it was reduced to like 2 or 1. Since then, my whole body has been really at ease, even though I've been extremely hectically busy. So it's worked for me. So I think I started off 0, now 0, but no pain. Yes.
Wow.
Very comfortable.
So
Yeah.
that's good. So physically, emotionally, you felt like no pain, no tension at all.
Well, emotionally, a little bit of a stress, but for the pain, because I used to have a lot of neck pain. Even, a few weeks ago, when we were chatting about this discussion, that was, I was in Adelaide. I went for a massage and it was better. Yes.
Okay, so how about your audience? Like whoever that is watching right now, put in the chat your number before and after the exercise. How do you feel right now, either physically or emotionally, compared to before?
Okay, let's have a look. I'm just scrolling down my Facebook Live here on my phone. Um, okay, so whose name started with a 3 for pain, now 1. Lisa, 5 to 4. Wendy, no pain, but feeling really at ease after that exercise. All
Isn't that
positive
amazing?
experiences.
That was less than 5 minutes, you guys.
Yes,
It
yes,
really works because it works. It's not because I told you. It works because it's based on scientific research based, evidence based research.
yeah. Who's
So it
name?
really does
3 to
work.
1. Congratulations. I can see
Yeah.
here on our Zoom chat here, Lisa, 5 down to 2. Can you see? You can see on the screen.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh,
And then
wow.
Christina, 3 to 1.
Isn't
Fantastic.
that awesome?
So two of my Lisa friend, Lisa 10, 5 to 2, Lisa Giocondo, 5 to 4. And then 3 to 1 was Husney and Christina. Wendy is no pain, but now feeling even more at ease. Wow.
In 5 minutes.
In five
So it's
minutes.
real, you
Same
guys. Yeah.
with my friend Winnie as well. No pain. I'm feeling really at ease too. Yes.
I
Awesome.
am so happy for you to be able to experience it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidi.
Now, yeah, now are you ready for the? I know I'm cognizant of the time. So we have the third area of happiness on demand. This one is not in the book, but I'm going to add it in because it takes like less than 5 minutes again to work on our heart. So this time is an exercise, even shorter than the last one, is to bring your heart rhythm into coherence and engender a sense of unconditional self-love, which will help us to balance out our negative self-talk, right? So you can see the immediate effect with the support of self-love in this really quick exercise that can move you from self-judgment to self-compassion, from stress and overwhelm to calmness and inner peace. And some of you already reduced your, your stress or your pain. But let's see how it works for your heart right now. When you're stressed or your heart feels shut down, so in general, either at home or at work, first you acknowledge your feelings as soon as you sense that you're out of sync. Feelings such as frustration, impatience, anxiety, overload, anger or judgment, etc. The Institute of Heart Math has this inner ease technique. So again, if it's safe, close your eyes, but this time put your hands on your heart area. Okay? Imagine that you're breathing in and out through your heart. Breathe slowly and gently until your breathing feels smooth and balanced, but not forced. During the heart focused breathing, imagine with each breath that you're drawing in is a feeling of inner peace. Infuse your mind and emotions with balance and self love from your heart. Do this a few times so you can be grounded and find a natural inner rhythm that feels good to you. So, again, breathing in and out through your heart. Imagine that. Breathe slowly and gently until your breathing feels smooth and balanced, not forced. And imagine each breath that you're drawing in a feeling of inner ease. And that feeling infuses your mind and your emotions with balance and self love from your heart. If you're feeling overwhelmed, when the stressful feelings have calmed, affirm with a heartfelt commitment that you want to anchor and maintain the state of ease as you re engage in your projects, your challenges, or your daily interactions. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and you can put a 1 or 2 word answer or comment in the chat how you feel.
Inner peace for me. Anyone else? Anyone's in the chat room or on our Facebook Live? Let me just quickly go there. I'll take a look. Husney said, emotionally, I feel happier after hearing from my body. Christina, thank you for the wisdom. When feeling stressed, acknowledge your feelings. Okay, a friend of mine suggested, I think, did you mention Dr. Lipton?
Yes.
Yeah, and he said that he has great views on epigenetics. There's a lot of his work on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. The thing is, there is not a lot of knowledge. I've spent the last good part of the last 20 years reading and researching. But the most important part that I found, especially this last year during COVID, is practice. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot of these things intellectually for years, but I wasn't happier back then. The When I got happier is because I practice. I practice meditation. I practice some of these skills that I taught you guys, and it's totally made a total difference. 180-degree change for me. So watching Dr. Lipton's video is really helpful. But remember,
Practice.
practice some of these 5-minute tools that you can get from my ebook.
You know, Vinny, I don't know whether you remember my dad, your uncle,
Of
loved,
course.
of course you remember him, but like, do you remember he loved Bruce Lee and
Oh
his
yeah,
movies? And he
yeah.
always says this, and I always am reminded of that, that knowing without doing is not
It's
knowing. That's
not
Bruce
knowing.
Lee's teaching to his students. And my dad used to
Hmm.
teach us that, you know a lot of knowledge, but then you need to practice and implement it. And it's the same with this, right? Dr. Lipton or any other wise gurus like yourself and many others can teach us many things, but if we know them, those wisdoms and insights, but if we don't implement and practice, I'm speaking to myself as well, because I suppose,
Yes.
I've learned a lot throughout the years and recently from you about, happiness on demand and all these things. Really need to remind myself to apply and implement what we've learned. And I would like to say that to all of my friends here or my audience on Facebook. And here I see Lisa said that she feels even more peaceful than after the previous meditation. So this heart meditation helps her to be
Yes.
more peaceful, just like I
Yes.
did. Yes.
Yeah, actually, this inner ease technique helps your mind and your energy stay focused. So your respiration and heart rhythms synchronize.
Yes.
It also helps to activate beneficial hormones and neurotransmitters such as oxytocin,
Yeah.
endorphin, serotonin, and dopamine.
Oh, good.
So practicing this helps your body regulate hormones and
Bini looks like the reception is sort of a bit of a break.
you,
Yep, I can hear you now.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So the last point I was talking about is this technique helps your mind and your energy stay focused, and
Yes.
your respiration and heart rhythm to synchronize. It also helps to activate beneficial hormones and neurotransmitters such as oxytocin, endorphins,
Yes.
serotonin, and dopamine. Practicing this inner ease technique regularly can help ease, um, not only keep you at ease, but also raise your happiness level at any time. It helps you feel calmer with a sense of joy and security, so you don't feel like as fearful, even in the face of a stressful situation. We can learn to habituate that peaceful state and make that our default state. What I recommend is that you do this a couple times a day for at least the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You can even do it with your eyes open, standing in line in the grocery store.
That's right.
It
Just
takes like what? Not even 2 minutes.
yes.
That's it. We don't have a lot of time these days, but if you do it consistently a couple times a day for 2 minutes, you will really make this inner peace and sense of well-being and authentic happiness more and more the place from which you live. And transformation takes practice and persistence. You
Mm.
know, you can create transformation in your life by appreciating every step of your progress, no matter how small it seems to you. And remember, all journeys start with a single step. Give yourself compassion and permission to progress at your own pace. No need to
Yeah.
compare.
I love it that normally when we think about reducing our stress by breathing in and out of our mouth and our nose, but to breathe in and out through our hearts, that is such an amazing thing to do. So I'm gonna be doing that regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, your heart, actually, the electromagnetic field from your heart is about 5,000 times your brain's. So it has a huge influence on us, whether you know it or not. But
So
anyway,
well,
yeah.
I'd like to perhaps share a really wonderful video that you've, recommended that we play to our audience, and that is
You know
happy.
what?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's do that at the end,
Mhm.
because I think you mentioned that what I can share with your audience, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, I put together an ebook where
Yeah.
I share the five tips to
Mhm.
cultivate happiness on demand.
Sure.
One of them is the body wisdom exercise.
Yeah.
So if you get the ebook, you have the whole instruction on how to do it.
Yep.
And
So what I think I'll do is I'll share, you've got a link, which is
yeah,
basically Happiness on Demand tips, where I'm going to be posting it in our YouTube video once we upload this interview there, as well as on our Facebook Live. So for those of
yeah,
you who are watching live right now or later on, with the recording, you can see right here, most likely below the YouTube videos, as well as up the top of our, Facebook Live, Vinny's Happiness on Demand tips ebook. You can download that free of charge. Thank you so much, Vinny, for giving that to us as a gift. And then, once you actually download that, then Vinny will have your email, then we can actually keep in contact with you. How does that sound?
yeah. And also, one of the tips is to make a happiness. I don't know if you can see the
Yeah, yes.
reflection.
It's a
It's
beautiful.
a it's a happiness gratitude jar that I made. And
Mm,
so I have 25. It's still the 25th in the US. So I have 25 happiness moments in there.
wow.
One of my readers actually said, "Oh, wow, you can make it as a thoughtful gift, as a Valentine gift for your
Oh,
friends and your loved ones." So I have my little Valentine's ribbon for
that's
myself.
beautiful. That's, oh,
Yeah.
wow. I love that.
And I actually may already made a few for my family and my friends. So I see them having little happiness moment in there.
So
So
do you
you
use
can
a
see it in
little
the ebook. The instruction.
post-it note? Like,
Yeah, see,
yeah,
okay, so I put in some of the stars, sprinkles, and I bought different sizes and shapes
post-it
of
notes. Yeah.
Post-its.
Posted it. Yeah, posted.
So you can put in different kinds of, colors to make it nice and colorful and happy.
And happy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I know these tips work not only because you guys try it, right? Because it's supported by evidence-based research on cognitive neuroscience, positive psychology, and epigenetics that I've come across over the past decade and a half. They
That's,
work, as you know.
yeah,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah. So I
Mm.
think what we need to do is to practice. So is to quickly regain your balance from mental or emotional setback and to build your happiness habit neural pathways. It actually changes your brain. So happiness becomes more automatic for you.
Yeah,
And
brain
besides,
rewiring.
yeah, besides some of you and my friends, I have to say I'm one of my own satisfied customer.
Because you've actually experienced it, and that's the best thing. You
Yeah,
actually are the product of your own service. You've done it, you're the product of the product, you've been able to get the benefit from it. Then now
yeah.
you're paying it forward to help others. And that is the best mission and, calling. And I love that. And I feel the
Thank
same.
you.
Yeah, so wonderful. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. And I've
thank you.
placed the link here in the chat and also on Facebook, which is bit.ly/happiness on demand tips. But I'm going to be sending it to YouTube as well. I would love for you audience to share our a YouTube video as well as this interview on live chat Facebook group, so that more people can actually get the benefit from what Vini has shared, because all the wisdom and insights that she shared is only a small snippet of all that she's able to teach us and share with us. And once you actually, register to be part of the ebook, read through it, and I still yet to, I've actually, went through a bit of a skim through, but I'd love to actually take some time out to read through and apply those tips. And in connection and also, receiving Vinnie's emails, you will continue to learn more from her. So thank you
Yeah,
again, my dear,
thanks.
dear cousin and my wonderful sister, for teaching us today and sharing with us.
Well, it's my pleasure, and you're helping me spread happiness to your tribe in Australia. So thank you so much. And the ebook is really short. Most people take between 10 to 20 minutes and it can be finished and you can practice the tips with, less than 5 minutes. So